Another episode with the Brainy leadership team on Leadership Go. I'm Michael Brainy, and we are still on our intriguing series titled Ideas. We've looked at what ideas are, we've looked at how we generate or the source of ideas. We've also looked at two virtues that ideas is hinged on or that can help us in actualizing the ideas that are formed in our mind. Today, we are going to look at another aspect, and I have titled it Taking Steps. So you have the ideas, you formulated it, you have love for it, believe in God and believe in this idea and your potentials to actualize it. What do you do then? You take steps. Now, this is all about hard work and diligence. Ideas are seeds. Ideas are like seeds that must be planted and cultivated. Right? So, if you have the seed, let's assume you have a maize seed in your hand or in your palm, and you don't take it to the soil to plant it, it still remains a seed. You believe that it can become a tree that will bear fruits. You believe that you love it so passionately that once you put it to work, it will work. But if you don't go and put it to work, you are not going to see growth. You are not going to see the fruits that you are expected to see. So it's about work, diligence, like diligently working at these ideas to achieve them. And I want us to pick the farmer as a case study. Any farmer who wants to plant or cultivate a particular crop or something goes through some processes, and I'm going to take us through those processes and use it to explain how ideas are supposed to be cultivated. If ideas are like seeds, then that is how typically we can follow to cultivate it. The first thing the farmer does is to find a land. He finds a land. He looks for a land. He looks for a good soil that the ideas or the seed can be placed in so that it grows. And in our context as leaders, anytime we generate idea, the first thing we have to look for is to find an environment, is to find a place, is to find where this idea can be cultivated. The second thing the farmer does is to till the land. He tills the land. So he doesn't just go and just seize the land and put the maize there. No. He works on it. He weeds. He checks the pH of the soil. He checks the water content. He checks the organic matter content. He tills the land, tends it, makes sure there is aeration and all that. When we generate ideas, the ideas that we've generated are not going to be something so new. Right? You have to go to the environment you found. You have to ask questions. You have to find out what is actually the reality on the ground. And that is what is tilling the land means. You have the idea, but you have to make sure you have enough information, enough resources to be able to push in the idea. So you go and pursuing, asking questions, doing research. In that particular area, the idea has been conceived, and then you work with it. So you are a manager or something, and there is an idea that has been conceived to make that you think that will make your corporate organization run well. You have to find out how has it worked over the time. Even if, because your idea will be genuine, will stand out. But then, how are those who implemented such ideas doing it? What is the market saying about it? When I say market, not where we are selling, I mean people we are working with and like organization. What is in? If it's an organization that has to deal with customers, how are they going to take it? So you till the land, find out how these ideas can be put in place. And the next thing the farmer does is to plant the seed. Now, he has information, he's been able to till the land, he can go on to plant the seed. That is the same thing we can do. We have the information, we've done our research, we've asked all the questions we are supposed to ask and all that. The next thing we are supposed to do is to plant the seed. How do we plant the seed? Write it down, formulate visions out of it, speak it, share ideas. Dr. Miles Monroe once says that wealthy people are the people who talk about ideas. Share ideas with people of like-minded. Write them down, formulate. Remember, in our second episode in this series, we said that ideas are expressed in the womb of purpose, and it is ideas that actually formulate visions and continually shaping it. So write it down, formulate it into a vision, an end goal you want to see. That is the inserting of the seed into the soil. That is the planting. Write it down, speak about it to the right people about it. Develop a plan on how this idea will be cultivated. Not an abstract plan, a plan that is written down and followed. The next thing the farmer does is to see to it that there is watering. So if it's in rainy season, the farmer expects that there is rain. If it's not in the rainy season, the farmer waters the seed himself. And that is what we are supposed to do. The watering in our term is to continually develop the idea, continually stir it up, continually pursue knowledge, seeking guidance and counsel, making sure that the idea, once we've started cultivating it, is alive and it keeps going. You know, at some point, a seed that is planted dies, and that is how it might feel at some point. But then, it doesn't mean you shouldn't, because you've now planted the idea, you've written it down, you've developed the plan. What do you do next about the ideas? As you are working towards it, measure the growth, develop it, build knowledge around it, keep pressing on. That is our process of watering. So we are working to see it sprout out, to see it germinate. That is our watering process. So when you have ideas, you have to water it with knowledge, with development, continual development, seeking counsel and guidance, making sure that you are measuring the growth of it. That is how you are able to water your ideas. The next thing the farmer does is, once the plant begins to germinate and cultivate, the farmer puts in measures to deal with pests and parasites. There are negative thoughts all around. There are people who are going to talk you out of it. There are people who are going to tell you it won't work. There are people who will say a lot of things to you. But once the idea belongs to you, you love it and have faith in it. And once you've placed it in the soil, due plan, watered it, and have seen it growing, you do not have to allow these pests and parasites to take over. You do not allow circumstances to press you and destroy the idea. No. So you put in measures, practical measures, to be able to deal with all negatives around you, that will prevent the idea from maturing. The last thing the farmer does until the seed or now becomes a plant and bear fruit is to engage in some farming practices. Like, practically, if you go to a farm, we have mulching, where they cover the leaves of the soil with, they cover the surface of the soil with leaves to prevent sun rays and water and all that from washing away the nutrients in the soil and all that. They have pruning, where they have to cut some part of the seeds and the tree to make sure it bears fruit. We are also to engage in such practices. Now, we've watered, we've dealt with pests and parasites. Now, our ideas are being cultivated. Our ideas are being formulated. But then what we have to do is to make sure that we are putting in the right practices. We are forming the right values. We are forming the right standards that are going to help us make sure that these values and this idea, once it's being brought up, is going to stand and save our generation or save humanity. So that is the last thing that we do when we are generating or when we are cultivating our ideas. Engage in farming practices. Where you have to make sure some things are off, you take them off. Where you have to make sure others are fixed in, you fix in. Where you may have to make sure knowledge is added up. Anything that you are supposed to do to make sure that the development state of the idea is complete has to be done. And I assure you, if you are going to go by these things, and then you are going to experience a big harvest of your ideas. Thank you so much for joining us today. In our next episode, we are going to look at, whilst all these are going on, what should we do as we stay back? Thank you for joining us. Subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed. Share with friends, encourage them to learn, and let's grow together.